I'm sure you already heard about the news, Cadena, the whole company that was running the network, shutting down. So with the whole thing, you have to realize what happened. Okay, it was whole centrally run. It wasn't the way it was operated, extremely centralized. It was run by a company, had VCs and all that type of thing, uh, for profit essentially. And that's just how it's run. And you look at the technology, and I mean, it's pretty much already well proven that it doesn't scale. Shy was going into depth back in 2023, and it's not just in 2023 that it was proven that it can't scale whole chain web, but back in 2020 and 2021, there was research made on the chain web that literally proved that it cannot scale as more chains get added. So chain web, it's like parallel chains. Sharding is something similar as well, where it shards and creates like multiple chains in parallel. It doesn't scale, like it can't scale infinitely, and it's not a perfect scaling method. It's always going to have a limit to how much it can go. Confirmation times of every single chain gets added up. So, okay, finality and the total transactions per second, it adds up of every single chain. So yeah, one chain can be really fast, but if you have a ton of them, it becomes very slow. And not just very slow, but it also worsens the security as more chains get added. And that's been proven. Shy was going into depth about that back in 2023, 2024. So the technology wasn't there, and the way it operated, they were just milking the cow, that what was left of it. And this is crazy. It looks like there was some inside trading going on. So in the days before, basically like 1 or 2 days before, open interest surging, and it's kind of sus, up to like with a few $1 million worth, kind of sus. And then at the moment of the news, open interest spiked another million or so. This is just, I mean, you can never know. You can never prove unless you're an exchange and you look at these accounts. This stuff comes from like Binance, from Bybit. So you're not going to know, but insider trading likely from these people that shut down the company. Kind of sad to see. You really have to realize that the majority of altcoins are going to experience the same thing. If they're not technologically the best, so what does it come down to? Then it comes down to that company that's running the altcoin realizes, okay, there's not a future for us. It's just time for us to make money off of this, to milk the cow and have our eloquent exit down the road when there's literally nothing left. I mean, literally, it's just how the formula works. If there's not adoption, and how does adoption come? It comes because the technology is the best. Okay, Solana, for example, at the time, it was the up and coming. It was the runner up. It was popular because the technology was pretty solid back then. But now we realize that this is extremely centralized. It runs on nodes that have to be like basically like data centers. So it's not even decentralized anymore. And it's proof of stake that already has a lot of limitations, has a lot of drawbacks. So what does it really do? It's a centralized Web3. Call whatever, but it's not much different than what traditional finance or traditional solutions on the internet, what they provide. AWS outage really highlighted that. This is also kind of funny. This wallet number, now wallet number one, it now gained Aquaman status. The transactions received, it's in T9, which is like type 9. It's some sort of like old messaging with just using like the number keys, the numpad. It's basically deciphering the numbers into in a predictive way with words. So it comes out times. But this doesn't mean anything. It had to be withdrawals. If they were withdrawals and you knew that came from the wallet itself, because anyone could deposit, of course. So, and of course, why such small amounts? If it was like massive amounts, then that'd be a lot more viable. National debt, all-time high. So you already know what's coming next. Hang on to your horses, because this is literally the future in the making. Crypto is the future in the making. You got your Kraken. Even if you already made a Kraken account, you could put this code in, scan the QR code, and do the trade. Get trade $200, claim $75 of Bitcoin, swap that for Caspa ASAP, and you're good to go. You have Tangem, you have Ledger. Those are other good things. Yeah, I always put these links in the description. The thing about Ledger and Tangem's great. I really do love it. But the thing I like about Ledger as well is because you could have as many wallets on the Ledger as you want. Not just one wallet like Tangem. You could just keep on creating Ledger wallets Caspa, Caspa compatible on the L1, natively compatible on Ledger Live. But if it's also compatible on the L2 with Casplex ZK EVM and Eager Labs through MetaMask. You connect on MetaMask, and then there you go. You're compatible with the ZK EVM. So for gold to hit that, that crazy all-time high, and for it to now be able to consolidate downward, this chart is going to be able to rise in value. When you look at things with respect to gold, of course they look a lot better, but as gold comes down, these assets are going to be able to rise in price respectively. Once Caspa gets its VPROGs, Dagonite, etc., 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 it's going to perform so much better than we have been seeing. It's going to be able to get the traction and adoption, institutional adoption as well, that we really want to see. So Caspa still doesn't have stable coins on its L2 yet, but of course we're going to see that in its due time. So do I think Caspa is now a perfect buying opportunity? Of course I think. Of course I think. Every single time it's down, every single moment it's up. I think it's a great opportunity. Okay, when you keep it with respect to everything else. But is now the perfect opportunity? Yes, now is the perfect opportunity. Are you going to wait for 4.1 cent to fill again? It's up to you. Are you gonna wait for anything? Like literally, you can't just keep on waiting. That's why I think you have to make your move now while it's at an severely undervalued. Look at the macro indicators. This is the 1,000-day moving average. You have to keep that in mind that, okay, we're extremely undervalued right now. How much more undervalued you gonna wait for? It just doesn't make sense to keep waiting. Like, oh, I'm gonna wait for a little drop to 4.5 cents, or I'm gonna wait for a little drop maybe to 3.3 cents. Like, yeah, anything's possible, but we are currently in a macro support level with respect to its price and its long history. So could we drop a little bit? Yeah, this whole range here could be volatile. It could be consolidating in here. It could be consolidating in this triangle. It could be consolidating wherever it wants, essentially. Is it going to consolidate all the way down to 3.3 cents? It could find support down there as well. But you have to keep in mind that these prices are extreme discount territory. So who's selling? Well, market makers could be selling, keeping it down, suppression for the number one wallet to become the number one wallet, to become Aquaman. And that's just like the only reason. Like retail, of course, is holding. It continues to hold Caspa. Take a look at the long-term holders. Supply not moved in 3 months. Still the same. Okay, the price is down and the same. I would like this number to increase. Would have been nice to see it increase, but it's been stagnant. Whatever, at least it's not going down. 6 months, it fell a little bit. 1 year, it's not rising as fast as it used to be. Long-term holders paper hands are leaving, essentially. 2 years plus had a nice sizable decrease. This really interests me because like this large amount, about 1% of the supply moved right before the crash happened. So does someone have inside info? Maybe, maybe not, but it's interesting. That's about 1%. Still, like, it's not like it's that much. 1% of the supply from 2 years ago, inactive supply that moved. Check out 3 years. 3 years is much more insignificant. Yeah, it's not like it's a major spike that happened like over here, but it didn't fall by a massive amount. A 3-year plus hodlers are still hodling, which is good to see. So in regards to inactive supply, it's pretty much still bullish, maybe slightly less bullish as it has been in the past. Like this type of thing over here is very bullish, good to see. Seems like the yearly isn't rising as much. 2 year hasn't seen a spike as it did back here. So yeah, I mean hodlers, you can't blame them too much. Okay, the price action for Caspa hasn't been great, but I think our time is coming for 2026. I explained that in my previous video, so take a look at that if you want to, and stay bullish, my friends. So you already know what's up. Stay hodling, stay buying, stay bullish. Peace out.